Cool. You got a sound check or anything? Check, check, check. 1, 2. That looks all good.
Check.
Check, check.
Check. Yes. It's that time again. Sit back, relax, and let us take you home. We are 2 dudes, 1 pod.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are honored and privileged to be here at the ESPNLA studios, to be here with the great Greg Bergman.
What's going on, guys?
It's great to have you here, Greg. Thank you for having us here. We just wanted to get a little bit of insight on your story. We've had the opportunity to, watch you on the Mason and Ireland show for some time. Different shows, helping out the shows, but we just want to get to know your story, how you got into this industry, how it's changed from when you started to now, and just your experiences with the P1 Circle of Trust and so forth.
Yeah, so I've been doing this a long time, guys, and thank you very much for having me on here. I've listened to the 2 dudes 1 pod all the time. I've seen probably like 6 or 7 of them. I'm not sure how many there are, but I definitely watch as many as I possibly can. But yeah, guys, I've been doing this for a long time, man. Like 2002, I was an intern at Fox Sports Radio. So I actually started. I was a student at Santa Monica City College, and I met somebody, his name is Vito Violante. He's still at Fox Sports Radio now. I met him, we just kind of started hanging out, and he said, hey, I got this internship at Fox Sports Radio. You should call over there and see if you can get something. And I said, why not? I'll just get into it. And then I got the job. It was through somebody named Andy Zdarovich, very, very high up in premier radio networks. And I never looked back. What are we at now? 22 years later, and still going. I went from intern, got hired on as an editor, moved around a little bit, but then was a producer, and then I came here. It's a long, long journey of 22 years in like 4 or 5 different stations.
So Greg looks 22, and he's been
Thank
doing
you.
this.
No,
He's been doing this for 22 years.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I did a little bit of research, and I know that one thing I've learned about the radio business is like multiple jobs all the time.
Yep.
Lots of moving. You've probably done all that and
everything. I don't know what I haven't.
It's wild. And I always knew that Travis Rogers with his connection to Jim Rome, but you worked for Jim Rome as well, right?
Yeah, so I was doing the 3rd shift on Fox with Ben Maller, who you know.
Yes.
Right, very well. So that with Ben Maller, and I got an opportunity to go fill in for Travis Rogers and Jay Stu. So this was, God, what was it? It was probably like 2000. It was Sedano at the time. George Sedano was the 3rd shift on Fox host. And he was like, you got to do it. It's Jim Rome. You have to do it. So I would stay there till 3 o'clock in the morning at the Fox Sports Radio studios, drive down to Irvine directly afterwards, stay at Karen Kay's house where she gave me a room so I could just sit there. If you remember Karen Kay,
yeah.
She did all the traffic, and she definitely worked with us for a long time.
Definitely.
I would stay there I'd get in bed, I'd go take like an hour and a half nap, take a shower, get out and go sit in with Travis or Jay Stu at the time with Jim Rome. And I did that probably 3 or 4 weeks on and off, and it was incredible. That was the first time I sat there and I looked. I said, "Wow, this is how a show is supposed to run." It was pretty incredible how much Travis did for that show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty impressive. When you start to get to learn to meet everybody here, like they all have these like long backgrounds, like where they've been around.
Small world, man. Small world. Everybody knows everybody in some sense. Like Chris Morales, I've been working with him for the entire 22 years.
So, they call you Corporate Greg, right?
Right.
Corporate Greg.
Greg.
Yeah. So how did that name come about? And then what is your official title? Like everybody always asks, is Greg the boss? He isn't the boss. Is he more a collaborator?
So basically how it works is Corporate Greg, first of all, I got that because I was working on a Mason in Ireland. and I got promoted to the assistant program director under Amanda Brown. And so when that happened, Mason Ireland said, "Oh, you're leaving us," because I left Mason Ireland. That's why Lindsay Fulton got hired, is because we hired her to take over Mason and Ireland and for me to be promoted. So I got promoted to assistant program director, and when that happened, and I told Mason Ireland, like, "Oh, look at you, you're corporate now. So you're corporate Greg," and it's just stuck ever since as anything that Mason Ireland give a nickname that tends to stick.
Yeah.
So that was definitely how that nickname came along. Right now, my official title is manager of audio operations, which why we go with the MAO, because I think it's very funny. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, here I am the highest ranking ESPN employee in this building, if that's puts it into focus in any sense there.
Yes.
But I work very, very well with Chris Morales. I think we have just a good partnership where we're able to have discussions about everything that goes on the content side and on the sales and programming side, or sales and marketing side, I mean. And so it's everything is collaborative around here. I don't really think that there's a boss or
Title
there's a
or
title.
something
Yeah, I think as long as everybody does their job well, we just give everybody the chance to do their thing. Look at Laura Romo. She has really brought herself up a ton over
really
the last
just
couple
growing.
months. Yeah, just fully growing, and that's because she got the opportunity, grabbed it, and just took it and ran with it. So I think it's very important for that.
From where you have started at that time to what you've seen grow with the station in terms of having these communities, these remotes, how important was it for you because Morales mentioned it's all about instilling those grassroots.
Yep.
So how important was it for you to team up and kind of make that push to the next phase of what you wanted this station to be?
Yeah, we always had the same idea of what this station should be, that it was very much a personality-driven radio station, and I think that comes across, and I think you all see that, and because how the community was created really embodies all of that, right? Like George Sedano was the one, he created the Circle of Trust. He was, and then everybody just kind of all fell in the line. I think that kind of needs to be known. Sedano created the Circle of Trust. Kyle Downey created the Mason Ireland Mafia, and then I think, did you create the All Stars or the?
No. It was Raul. Raul.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, Raul. Yeah.
Slee was burner account.
I love that guy.
It disappeared, and so then somebody else took it over.
Yeah, that's kind of the way those things happen. But that kind of just shows you what this station has really built up. So that grassroots is very much that. The fact that you're the P1s and you guys feel so invested within the station, and then come out to all these events and are with us, and we just feel like no matter where we go, we know you guys are going to show, and you're going to show up large. Everybody does. I think it's just amazing the way it does. So when Morales and I it was very much we have to just take what has been built and just to try to expand it as much as possible. Because I've been doing this a long time, told you 22 years. I was mostly in national sports radio, and actually here was the first time I was in local. And I have never seen or heard any other radio station that is quite like what we do here. To the point of just last week, I went to a place called Cilantro. It was a Mexican burrito place. It was delicious in a Chevron restaurant, a Chevron gas station. And we were just they were talking about it on the air, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good. I'm gonna go." David 100's like, "Hey, I'm close. I'm gonna go stop by," and we just had dinner for an hour or whatever it happened to be. That doesn't happen anywhere else.
And
I think
I
that's
made a
important.
comment about that, just the differences between this station and others is something that I have never seen before. The fact that somebody can have that kind of connection with their listeners and vice versa, where you can just go grab something to eat, and it's fine, just cool, just having some meal, chopping it up. We created more of that dynamic with you, more of that banter. You have a few favorites.
You call them favorites. No, I actually love those guys. I'm assuming you're talking about Dead Meow.
Just the
and
YouTube
Molly.
chat and just how much has it been in terms of the importance of having that banter, having that relationship with these people, and knowing that it just creates more of that close nicheness with each other.
It's great. Look, no matter what happens and whether I'm involved in the YouTube chat anymore or not, Dead Meow, Molly, all of those, everybody, you two from the Cot and everybody else, I love just hanging out with them in person. That to me is really, really important. I always felt that it was extremely important for me and somebody at what I guess my level or wherever I am in this business to be as interactive with everybody as possible. Be in the YouTube chat, answering people on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it happens to be, because like, who am I? I'm just the guy that talks on the radio, and you guys listen to us, so I feel like I should be interactive.
Right.
At some point, it just got to the point like, okay, I need to take a step back because it's like water torture, you know, like just the same. It's really just the same thing over and over. And then I was like, okay, that's just a little bit enough for me. But they're great. The fact of the matter is, they're talking about me, and I'm having that relationship with them for 9 hours a day on other shows, even when I'm not there. So, you know, like, thank you, Molly. Thank you, Dead Meow. You're keeping me relevant. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean? But I honestly, I think they're wonderful people, and especially in person, they're really good, really nice people. I enjoy them.
Awesome. So how many hours do you spend at the station or even with, you know, ESPNLA content? And, you know, how do you balance your family life?
So I'm here a lot. I get here probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't leave until I feel like I'm done. So that could be anywhere from 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon. It just depends on what I have to do and need to do. I won't leave until then. But then I also, you know, when I'm at home, I'm always on call. So if someone calls and something broke, a wide orbit went down, or we're having an issue with somewhere on one of the play-by-play properties, I have to answer my phone, and I'm constantly on. And obviously, you know what we do, we're watching sports, so that's part of the job. But to balance I do a very good job, I think, of taking myself away from everything when I am home. When I'm with my girlfriend, with my daughter, those things are very, very important to me, to have a good relationship with them. So to make sure that my daughter Riley feels that I am there for her, and when she needs me, I'm there. When my girlfriend wants to go do something, okay, I'm taking myself away and we're going to go do that. I think that's, to me, very important, to have that work-life balance. But if something comes up in the middle of it, I'm here. That's just the way it has to be.
All right, so let's switch to Dodgers now.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, they've had their setbacks, obviously. Where do you see them finishing? Like, assuming everybody comes back healthy, and who are the threats out there against them, you think?
So it really depends on if you're talking about in the National League or the American League, but still, they have to get healthy. They need Mookie Betts to come back. He's supposed to come back sometime in the middle of August. Yamamoto coming back is massively, massively important, because that just helps solidify the rotation. And we've seen what happens in the postseason. They either can't hit or they can't pitch, and then you're screwed. So everybody needs to come back. But I think Mookie and Muncy coming back are huge gets for them to come back, and Yamamoto, because then if you can have a 1-2-3 of Glasnow, Flaherty, and Yamamoto, that's totally different than having a 1-2-3 of Flaherty, Glasnow, and Stone, or Ryan, or Wrobleski, or even Kershaw. That changes everything. So, and Mookie really makes this go, you know. So like having all those, I think it's going to be very important to get those guys back. But at the same time, Philadelphia is going to be really, really tough. They are a good team. Really good. From the pitching staff to their 1 through 9.
It almost reminds me of those Philly squads that we would have to go through in the day. So like I'm hoping
the Roy Halladay, Roy Oswalt,
Ryan Howard.
those guys, the Chase Utleys, those were tough games. Yes. Very much like that as well. They're just all the way top to bottom, very, very strong. I think I worry a little bit about the Padres right now. I don't think I'd ever say that, but they're playing very good ball. They have good pitching. They have a really good relief corps, and they're hitting as just guys that get on base.
And I think most importantly, they don't fear the Dodgers.
Not anymore. After they beat them, I thought they swept them a couple of years ago. That was it. Or 3 or 4, but whatever it happened to be.
For sure.
They're not afraid of them anymore.
Right.
So the Dodgers have to come out, and they have to be able to play at peak level. They have to hit their peak at the exact right time, and it just hasn't happened for a couple of years.
You do the Blue Review.
Yeah.
You have taken your Dodgers passion and you've created the Blue Review, which, by the way, I enjoy. I love it. I tune
Thank
in
you.
every single
Thank you.
morning at 9:30 to 9:55.
That's right.
So how long have you been doing Dodgers content, and have you ever wanted to kind of be in a position where you worked for the Dodgers? Were there any of those aspirations of maybe working for them, or just kind of share your Dodgers enthusiasm in your show and all of that?
So I've been a Dodger fan my entire life. I mean, I'm born and raised here in Los Angeles. I am a born and bred Angelino. That's exactly who I am. But I never wanted to work for the Dodgers. I mean, if I got a job with the Dodgers, cool, I would have been happy. But you can't really be honest about a team if you work for them. And that's kind of where I always want to come from. I want to give you my true, honest take on everything.
Right.
Whether right or wrong, it doesn't matter to me. I'm giving you what I truly, truly believe. And so I've actually been doing Dodger content since it was the Astros World Series. So, or no, it was the Red Sox World Series. So that would have been 2018. Yeah, it would have been 2018. So I was working for Dodgers Nation.
Okay.
And so I was the first one to do their Dodger postgame show. You know, Doug McCain is doing it now, and he's fantastic at it. But that was my gig first, and I was doing it, and I would travel around with them. Then I started working for Dodger Blue after I left them, and then I came here Then I decided to do more here, and that's when I created the Blue Review. It all just kind of happened organically because I had been doing it already before. I did Laker content. I don't know if you ever remember that.
That. Yeah.
I had Lakers Raw, which I got made so much fun of for being called Lakers Raw. It sounded good at the time. It actually wasn't my name, but then I took it over and we changed it into Showtime Forum.
Yes.
It was really building up. We were going to do something called it was going to be kind of like The Ringer, but for Lakers content. And it was really getting big, and then I got promoted, and it was a conflict of interest, so I couldn't do it anymore. But the Dodger content's been going on for a very, very long time. And I just love it because that's just a sport that I feel like I know really well. I don't know why. I feel like I know almost all the sports, but that one just clicks.
Right. And your partner when you first started last year was Clint Yates. And that kind of fizzed out,
He's got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah.
But Markus Grant has been tremendous. Talk about your relationship with Markus and how you two are growing in terms of your continuity with this, and how valuable has he been to the show?
So Markus is great. I absolutely love working with Markus. I started working with Markus in 2009 when I was working at Sporting News Radio. So we knew each other. We were producers at the same time at Sporting News Radio.
Oh, wow.
They ended up moving to Houston, and I decided I didn't want to go to Houston. So I got let go, and I went to Hawaii after that. That was amazing. But either way, I started working with Markus there, and so when I got promoted after Amanda Brown was unfortunately let go, I just we need to get new blood in here, and Markus is fantastic. He works for the NFL. He knows Dodger baseball. He went to USC. He has a lot of things that this station really understands. He's also a big nerd, and he'll tell you that. He loves Marvel and Star Wars and everything else. He understands movies. He just fits into the fabric of what we do here. So I was like, let's get you in on the Blue Review since you're a massive Dodger fan and you can kind of get away from your NFL stuff a little bit. And he came over, and he's just been there day in, day out, really invested. And him and Parker Bell have been just so much fun to work with. I think it has taken the Blue Review to a whole nother level.
I agree. So you mentioned getting fired. I know it's part of the business, especially the radio business.
Yeah.
So what does that look like in the radio business? You get noticed, you walk in, and they say, oh, yeah, today's your last day. How does that work?
So fired, I've never been fired from a radio station. Let go. Well, everything's been different. I left Fox Sports Radio because I wanted to be on air. Then I went back. And then I left again. I worked at Fox Sports Radio 3 separate times, and I don't know how that worked out, but it somehow did. I left Sporting News, so I guess let go, because I just walked out one day. That was you got to realize that there's live mics everywhere. So people were on remote, and their mics were live, and I was sitting there running the board for them back at the studio, and they just started saying things, and they were saying things that about me that I did not enjoy, and I just went in and said, you guys' mic is live, and I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I didn't appreciate it, and I walked out. and that was the end of me working at Sporting News Radio. And then Marcus actually had to come in that day and fill in for me because I was like, I'm done here. So that was that one, and then I've just always. Since then, I went to NBC Sports Radio, and I left that because I didn't like the direction of the station. And then I went back to Fox Sports Radio and then got hired here. So I've just left most of my places.
So we know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, September 1st is when, or early September, when you changed the format to 9 a.m. again, where the Travis and Slee?
September 9th.
September 9th, okay.
Yeah.
September 9th is, so how did that all come about, and how did that decision-making happen?
Yeah, so it was a decision amongst all. So I think everybody needs to understand that we are owned and operated by ESPN. I mean, GKB, Good Camera Brands, owns the station, but we're still an ESPN property. So we have to play national radio. We don't have a choice over the matter. So what we were doing before is we were doing, Unsportsmanlike and then replaying Unsportsmanlike into Travis and Slee at 10 o'clock. It just didn't end up working out anymore. Doing the replay was just too much of a hassle, especially for Chris Morales. That was just way too much. And so we decided Greeny is such a large name in this business, and such whether it's national or not, he understands sports. He understands what he's talking about, and he really kind of can feed through the speakers. It's really important. So we just figured, let's just change it. Let's go with Unsportsmanlike in the morning, play Greeny because he's such a big name, and then we can just move everything up an hour, and we can get more play-by-play in. We can get more Rams stuff, more USC, more Kings, more Lakers, more everything that we have in the night. And then even if we don't have something, then other people get a shot. Maybe DeMarco or Andy Kamenetsky gets a show at night when there's something going on. I think that stuff is kind of important.
Yeah.
And it still keeps that 9-hour sports block together.
For sure. I think what I've taken out of this whole experience of just watching the different shows is that it's much like a palette of different colors, right? Everybody has like a little flair, their own little, but it comes together for a really like beautiful photo. I know that's cheesy, but I think it's just great the way each show has a little bit of something different, a little bit their own little pizzazz, their own little flair to it. And so, yeah, I just think it's great what you guys are doing here. It's great just how much interaction there's been with the listeners. And I guess I'll just ask this last question, because I think you had mentioned your brother is like a lawyer, and like that's kind of been their career passes.
Right.
What were their thoughts when you kind of went down this pursuit? Were they like, what are you doing going into the radio? Like, was there any kind of resistance towards it, or was everyone very supportive?
So I've always been somebody that kind of does whatever I want. No matter what anybody says, I'm going to do whatever I feel like. If it's what I want to do, I'm going to do it. No matter how much you tell me not to do it. I was met with a little bit of pushback when I wanted to get into sports radio, because like, what are you doing? That's not sports radio. You're not going to do anything there. Maybe go into finance, go into accounting, something along those lines.
Right.
But at some point, my parents and my brother, they just understood, like, you're a different dude. You're kind of the black sheep, not really though, but a kind of the black sheep that wants to do your own thing. And then once I got in, they were just hoping that something build off of it. And they saw how much work I put into it and how much I was really passionate about it. So when it finally did happen, when I finally got to ESPN, they were so overjoyed. It was just like, oh my God, you've been putting in so much work, so much time of your life. It was, at that point, it was 14 years. I've been here 8 years, so whatever that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been, so for they were just so happy about it that they were just proud of me. And at this point, they know who I am and what I can do. So they realize that I'm just going on an upper trajectory.
And how does your daughter look at it? Is it something that she sees herself doing, or?
Oh God, really? No! I wish. I got lucky to have the one daughter that absolutely hates everything sports. She refuses to watch it. I can take her to so many things, and she's like, "No, it's boring. Sports are boring to watch."
Yeah.
She likes playing them,
right,
but she just absolutely hates watching them, whether it's at the game or on TV. But she's very, very proud of me. She's to the point, like, she talks to her friends and she'll like, "Oh, my dad's at ESPN."
Yeah.
It does make her feel good.
That's
and
awesome.
When I brought her in to have her on the air, that's like the highlight of her life.
Right. That was so awesome too.
Yeah.
By the way.
She's great. She's I love that little girl so much.
Well, that's awesome, Greg. We really appreciate opening yourself up to us. I know you've been getting requested a lot by a lot of people to do interviews, so glad that you made some time for us. And yeah, man, we're just really excited to be in this position to continue to showcase what you guys are doing. Very excited about what the future's to come. Just opening yourselves up and allowing us to get to know you guys and share your stories. So really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. And honestly, the two of you are doing something that is just really, really cool. What you've created with Two Dudes, One Pod, and really how you've kept the communities together for so long. I think it's really a testament to you two to like look how far you've come just from your first podcast to whatever
crazy,
this one happens to be.
Yeah.
It's so much cleaner, so much better production, better questions.
Got microphones and everything.
Yeah, this feels like a real production to me, and you guys are doing an absolutely fantastic job. I'm really, really happy for the two of you, and for everybody that listens. Thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for watching these guys.
Thank you so
Honestly, you guys are doing a fantastic job. I'm really, really impressed with you.
Well,
both.
again, we couldn't do it without your support, man. We really, really appreciate it. And so thank you. Thank you so much, Bergie.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me,
Thanks,
guys.
Greg.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Cool.